Hey everyone, welcome back to another interview, part of the Unapologetically You series. I'm here with Jackie. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
I am so excited. So it's so interesting how being connected to amazing people works. We both are connected to a mutual friend, colleague named Elizabeth Lyons. And actually, Elizabeth was part of the first Unapologetically You speaker series. And when I emailed her asking her if she knew of anybody that had to be part of this, she mentioned you. So it's funny how that works. I love it.
I love it too. It's so good. Yes.
So
Yeah.
I'm going to start, and I want to know all the things about everything, but I'm going to start with just one question for you, and that is, what does it mean to you to show up and be unapologetically you?
Ooh,
I know it's a big
I,
question.
it is, but it is a beautiful, magnificent question. I love that question. What does it mean to show up and be unapologetically me? I think that it's an evolving question too. Wouldn't you
Mm,
agree? It's one
hmm.
that is like, it's never answered, nor should it be,
Right.
because we should always be striving to become more,
Yes.
unapologetically us. So for me, it is, living from a space of authenticity, and authenticity, yes, is a word that a lot of people use, but, authenticity can also be unique. Authenticity can be acceptant, and in a state of flow. I
Mm,
love that, in a state of flow. And one of my favorite states to be in is patience, right? I don't like getting patience. I don't like earning patience. I don't like learning how to be patient. But I do love being in a state of patience where I am, at peace, but allowing
mm.
the world around me to do what it needs to do. So to be unapologetically me is to give myself the space to flow. It is, allowing myself to witness where I need to grow, but also witness all the spaces I already have, to applaud myself when I win, to admit when I need to grow a little bit more and apologize in certain spaces. So mm, it's just to be.
Yeah, I love that.
That's it.
I've never heard anybody say to be in a state of patience.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah, I
like,
talk about it.
go
Yeah, I
ahead.
talk about it in my book, Becoming. I talk about a state of patience. Yeah, because I think, people, I know there are other crazy folks out there like myself who hated when they were teenagers. And somebody would say to them, you need patience. You need to be patient. If you
Right,
would only just be patient, if you
right.
could only practice patience. And we're like crawling the walls. What does this mean? Show me what that looks like, and
Mhm.
perhaps I'll understand it better. And with my ability to connect with energy, it is definitely like the first question I posed. Okay, cool. If you can answer everything for me, tell me what it means to be patient. And it really feels so much more doable and accepted to be in a state of patience, an ever present awareness that if I just stay connected to my right now moment, everything is going to happen and flow and shift and change accordingly to deliver everything I want. Anything I can desire can come through from that state of patience, that state of just being in my now moment.
I love that. It's like okay, the word that keeps coming up for me as you're saying that is knowing,
Oh, yeah.
like the gentle knowing. Like you're not rushed, you trust that you are exactly where you're supposed to be, even if you don't understand all the circumstances,
Mhm.
or even when you've fallen flat on your face because you've tried something new,
Mhm.
and you've got the opportunity to learn instead of win. Um,
Right.
and yeah, that's beautiful. So maybe okay, let me ask you this. So you mentioned your teenage years and how you weren't patient.
Hmm.
How did you go from this impatient teenager to someone that, I mean, you're very intuitive, you're in touch energetically with people that you coach and mentor. Your book, obviously, you're mentioning being in a state of patience, living authentically, that you're always reiterating, right? You're always becoming.
Mm-hmm.
Can you share your journey with us?
Yes, I would love to.
Okay.
So, it was about 20 years ago when I had what I think Wayne Dyer is referred to as the dark night of the soul. I had my dark night of the soul. I think we all have them from one moment to another. And, I witnessed where life was just not showing up for me the way I wanted it to, and very much in a victim energy. And so for me, it was, at that point, surrendering, the best I knew how. And I didn't realize it then. I see it now that that was what that was. But I threw my hands up and said, I know you're up there, whatever you are, whoever you are, whatever this is not a joke on me. So let's figure this out. If it's not where I'm supposed to be, then it needs to be shifted. I need to know what I'm supposed to do here. Clearly there's more than, this. And so, the journey started with, law of attraction, and being able to recognize that there was something far greater than me that existed. And that's when spirituality started to really evolve for me, resonating with the concept of the universal intelligence, the universe, and how it plays its role in our world and how we play a role in its expansion. Okay. And this fascinated me. And so I'd say 20 years of, looking at it and investing energy and time and, meditating to be part of the club that could connect to energy, and very soon I realized everybody can do it. Everyone already does do it.
Right.
It's this gut feeling that, people operate from, their intuition, and some take it farther to becoming aware of energy that's around them, energy that they can connect to. And so about 4.5 years ago, I also found a mentor that I resonated with at the time. And she started showing me all of the different things I was already doing that you don't know until you know. And it was like, holy cow, if I could affect the life of one person, I'm good. Like, I came here and did my deed. And it has been thousands of people, and it has evolved into an amazing business that's been, increasing each year and fantastic in itself and making the impact it's supposed to make. And so, yeah, it's been a journey, but it's one that I don't want to stop because I know healing's never done. I'm learning as I'm healing, and I'm supporting others and being able to do it too while I go.
That's amazing. You said a phrase in the midst of all that struck me. You said, clearly there's more, clearly. And I don't know about you, but for me, I wrestled with that because, well, frankly, I was in a position where my friends were like, you have life by the ass. What worry do you have? And I'm making six figures, had checked all the tick boxes of society's prescribed life. And my insides were screaming, you are not in the right place. There is more for you. And then immediately, my programming would be like, who do you think you are? Why can't you just be happy? Don't you know all the people that would love to have your position or have the car you have? Or why can't you just be satisfied? What's wrong with you? You're never happy. Like all of that head trash. And it kept me small and silent for a long time. Did you have to wrestle with any of that?
That's the ego.
Yes.
That right there is the ego. And the ego stands for etching God out.
Yes.
So when we etch God out, we essentially are saying, universe, I've got this. I don't need your help. And we didn't come here to do it on our own. We came here as co-creative beings to co-create alongside the universe and to manifesting the lives we desire. And we do it through the internal guidance system that we all have. We have to remember what that is, and that's part of my purpose. But yes, I had to wrestle with it. I had to wrestle with it hard. I talk about it in my book as well, about needing permission to be happy. I had to look to my mother, if you shook your head, yeah, okay, cool. Whew, I can be happy. Right. Creating six figures in my business multiple years in a row meant I was successful and I was, okay, yeah, I was successful. Really becoming very clear on again, me and what my inner being resonates with regards to happiness, with regards to success, with regards to everything and anything, you know. But you don't uncover those things until you start bringing light to those darker spaces of unworthiness and insecurity and inadequacy and shame and, you know, all of the things that we are programmed with, you know. We unprogram it as we go along when we start to become more authentic in our own being.
What does that look like when, and you can either share, I'll let you choose, or maybe you want to share both perspectives, but the unprogramming, the unbecoming, right? What we were taught. So my two questions, and you can pick, is what did that look like for you? Like, what was that process for you? And then my other question would be, what does it look like when you work with people now?
The answer is the same.
Okay.
The answer is
I figured, but
it is the inner child. It really is the inner child, and it is being able to witness where, you know, we never really get permission to become adults. I think that, you know, when we are little and, you know, let's take the parental aspect of it. They are our external in living life egos, right? They want to protect us and keep us safe.
Right.
And they, as parents, become the jargon inside, you know, of what can be and can't be and should happen and shouldn't happen and all the things. And so unprogramming that doesn't mean my parents sucked and I just had to walk away from it. Unprogramming it means my parents believed that money didn't grow on trees, right? That was their belief. Money doesn't grow on trees. My belief is that it's paper, and paper's from trees, and money absolutely comes from trees.
I love that.
Fantastic. Yeah. So money's all around me, you know, like I connect with money in ways that my parents will never understand, but that's me. And so we start to unprogram by basically calling these things out, shedding light on them because they've been dormant, because we've just accepted those as truths. But they're not our truths, they're our parents' truths or their religion's truths. So many people are struggling with religion right now. And it's such a beautiful, amazing, wonderful thing to see because we're reclaiming our power. It no longer looks like this. It can look like Buddhism wrapped up in a Cathology, you know, experience wrapped up in A Course in Miracles. Ta-da! Like it can be omniscient. It can be, you know, everything, because it all ends up leading back to love anyways. Whether you study the Quran, the Bible, A Course in Miracles, it all sends it back to love. And love is what source is. And so for me, it was a lot of working with my inner child because, you know, again, when we think of children, they are absorbing, but perhaps not processing. So the things that scared us when we were little, they don't scare us anymore because we know, right? So going back and doing a lot of inner child work for myself and often with my clients as well, to show them where they're safe, to show them where they were loved, to show them where mom and dad were just super busy trying to create massive, amazing, wonderful experiences for us that they didn't not love you. They loved you, that this is how they showed it, you know? And so there's that aspect of it. But then there is a lot of subconscious reprogramming because subconsciously we've accepted something that doesn't consciously resonate with us anymore. We know consciously that that's not the case, but this subconscious mind keeps preventing us from bringing in what we desire. And so there's a lot of subconscious reprogramming that we do as well with clients.
Would you be willing to share if there are questions that you ask that, like, if people are listening or watching and they're like, okay, that's great, I don't even know how to connect with my inner child, or I don't even know what that means. How would you start that?
So oftentimes when we have a feeling, let's go with a feeling. If we sit with that feeling and we ask ourselves how far back we remember feeling that, that'll lead us into past experience. And, you know, addressing, you know, ourselves at that age, if you will, or that space and time, if you will, and being able to soothe them. Ultimately, the inner child steps forth when they are afraid, and there's fear present that's preventing us from moving forward because the inner child is afraid. Or perhaps there is too much adulting going on. I mean, that's my kid. My inner child's like, are we done with this yet? This is so boring. I want to go have fun. I want to play. I want to be creative. So when I'm too caught up in business, and when I'm too caught up in, my schedule, right? Some part of me starts feeling frustration. And that's my inner child trying to say, hey, can we tune out and go have some fun? Self-care, something like that. So I think that it's about listening to you, and really journaling is my favorite tool. It's the jam. Journaling. And some people are like, I don't know how to journal. It's your ego trying to put the kibosh on expansion, because you do know how to journal. You get a notebook. Everybody remembers Dear Diary. Diary was the thing back in the day.
That's right.
But the truth of the matter is we can't heal what we refuse to see. And when we journal, we can see it. It's right front and center. It's in our awareness. And you can go back in days prior when you've journaled to see, it's been a week thing that I've been struggling with unworthiness. I want to check this out. It's supporting you. It supports you, so I would say inner child work starts with identifying really how you feel. I'm angry. That's like a secondary thing. Why are you angry? What's going on? Where does it come from? How far back can you remember feeling this type of emotion? And journaling is going to help you see, for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of power in writing it out. And I know, like for me, when I journal, I'll just keep writing until I get to the truth. I call it the third level truth, the truth behind the truth behind the truth, right? You just keep asking yourself
why. Yes. Whys are huge. I do it to my children all the time. Why are you upset? The first 3 whys are your ego.
Yeah.
The last 2 are oftentimes really what's going on that you need to look at. Yeah, I love that.
I have several male clients that I work with, and they came to me. They typically, when men come to work with me, they're like, I know it's something to do with my feelings. And, they don't want to, they don't want to deal with it, but they know they need to, because they know it's stopping them on some level. And when we dive into, I'm angry because, and then, well, it's somebody else's fault. Okay. And I feel that way because, and, there's like frustration there as I walk through that with them. But at the end, they're like, oh, it comes back to worthiness, or it comes back to, this situation that made me feel unworthy. And it's amazing. When I went through my first coaching training, I was taught that everything leads back to a level of insignificance. And whatever we call that, but that's just like the umbrella of it. And everybody struggles with it, but we just don't talk about it. Like, I wish when I was 12, Jackie, that someone would have come into my middle school and said, listen, you're not alone in feeling oily and awkward and weird and too much and too little and not smart enough and whatever. You're not alone. That would have been a game changer for me, because
I agree.
I was struggling.
I agree. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I remember that feeling. We had a family friend who was also psychic, and before I claimed my gifts, by any means, I would see her regularly. And she, at the time, she gifted me The Secret. And when I read that book and realized, oh my gosh, I am not alone. The universe is readily available to me. It is as thin as a veil. It's super easy to access, super easy to communicate with. Oh my gosh, there's spiritual beings that are with me all the time, like even in the shower, like all the time. It not only intrigued, but it did, because, I grew up really feeling alone, misunderstood, definitely unheard, and I think the most beautiful thing about life is how it takes those things we thought we were struggling with and turns it around to be one of our greatest assets. This feeling of not being heard turns into, operating in a space where people are reminded they're not alone and that they are valuable and that they are absolutely heard. And now, you know,
Yeah.
being a mouthpiece for spirit. I mean, people listen. You know what I mean? Like, what do my guides have to say about this? When am I ever going to meet Mr. Wonderful? They want to know, and they listen when I talk now. You know, I think it's one of the most amazing things, you know, that life can do. It shows you where you struggle. And then as you learn it, you're supposed to turn it around and support other people in the uncovering of it. And so, yeah, I think it would have accelerated our process magnificently had we had someone tuned in, tapped in, turned on, welcomed into our schools to say bullying is just this person's way of deflecting their feelings onto you. Don't take that personal, you know, and don't bully. Go look at why you're angry, you know, and go take care of, you know, your feelings rather than be a domestic violence situation. You know what I mean? Go handle your feelings rather than, you know, stuff those with drugs or alcohol or sex or food or whatever the case may be. Like, had we had someone come in and speak about emotions, I think it would have been a game changer. I think it still can be a game changer if we start to incorporate it with our education system.
Well, and there's some states that have mandated an element of social emotional learning, SEL.
That's amazing.
Which is, yeah, that is amazing. We live in a really tiny town here in Wisconsin, and I went in and talked with all the 6th, 7th, and 8th graders last year. And I went in with the title of Failing Forward, but we talked about emotional intelligence, and we talked about anxiety, and we talked about fear, and we talked about how to calm your nervous system, how to go from this to this, you know, how to know that you're not alone. And I told all of them, you're not alone. And one of the girls came up to me afterwards and she said, you know, I feel like my parents put a lot of pressure on me to achieve straight A's, and I'm so scared to disappoint them, and I have a lot of anxiety. My therapist says I have anxiety. And I went through like 3 different ways you can calm yourself. And one of them was to say, I'm okay. I've always been okay. I'll always be okay. And take a deep breath and then say that again. And afterwards she said, my therapist has me do that. And she says, it's to help with my anxiety. And I said, everybody has anxiety. And she started to cry and she's like, I'm not alone.
No,
And
absolutely.
I'm like, you're not
It's
alone.
amazing.
Like we all, you know,
Yeah.
everybody struggles. Like, and
Yeah.
I just, if I could scream anything from the mountaintops. And there's women that I've done retreats with, women that are in their 50s. And I've sent them outside just to sit without any electronic device for a half hour and write, to journal. The magic of journaling, right, Jackie?
Yeah, right. I know. I hear you.
And they come back in crying, and they've never done that. They'd never, and I send them out with like one question, like, think about what you want your next 6 months to look like for you, period. Not you with a title, not you with a role, just you. And they've never done it. And
nobody's given permission to dream. Nobody's given permission to feel. Nobody's given permission to tune in, you know. And yeah, we have all these outside distractions. That's why we are in a big, huge pandemic right now, because the universe itself is like, we need to pump the brakes here so people remember where their true power is. Your true power is inside of you. It's never going to be outside of you.
Right.
Nothing from outside you completes you. You're already complete within yourself. You just have to be called back every once in a while so you can witness that.
Absolutely. The whole idea of we're all broken and we have to be fixed, and you know, no.
Nope. Not at all. We are all emerging, and we must accept our expansion. That expansion is never going to be comfortable, because we decided to come to this crazy earthly experience and have it be uncomfortable. We knew that it would be the contrast to the blissful experience we have on the other side. It's boring on the other side after a while of having everything we could desire without even giving it too much thought, and, you know, mingling with the energy of love. We wanted to know how to expand ourselves, and to do so we have to learn. And so being here is the earthly classroom, as I like to call it, and we're learning all these things, and we're not just expanding our soul through our experience, but we're expanding the universe as well, because each soul each light of God is shining brightly in for different reasons and uniquely in its own way. And so my life's experience is going to expand yours when we're all collective energy again. And it's not a competition by any means, because we're all here to do it our own way. We need to do it our own way and be unapologetic about it, because getting caught up in the shouldn'ts and couldn'ts and wouldn'ts just stall the process.
Yeah.
We want to be in the flow, constantly moving, experiencing, and creating. Restriction feels like fear and anxiety, and that's a true indicator that something's not aligned with us. And we just have to go in and recognize it for it to shift and change.
Mm-hmm. I love it. Okay, I feel led to ask you a question, and I'm uncomfortable because, you know why? Because I'm afraid that people that are listening, they're going to have their feathers ruffled by it, but and so I have to ask it.
I can't wait. Best question in the whole wide world. I'm so ready.
Okay, but I think part of it is because I was raised in a super religious household, and so the whole idea of like God, Jesus and God, that was it, period. And like one book, Jesus, God. And the more I've expanded and learned, the more I realize it's so much bigger than that. It's not just a book. Like God's everywhere and everything. And so my question is, what do you believe happens to us when we die?
Ooh, do you know that you don't know? That's why I'm like, do you know, but you don't. Let me share with you how excited. I have been fascinated with near-death experiences. I have literally, I'm to a point where I'm like, please, I don't want a near-death experience. I'm just fascinated with what happens when we die. When I tune into the energy that I connect with, and I ask that question, or when I ask to remember what home is, home is a state of just pure consciousness. It's just pure bliss. It's just pure love. And the beautiful thing about it is that we don't have to die to go back and experience it. We are already capable of connecting to it. And that's when we experience the heaven on earth, as we open ourselves up to receive more of it through our system, through our bodies. When we pass, we shed the physical being, the physicalness, the body. That's our vessel. That's our vehicle to experience life. We shed that and we become just pure essence again. One of my favorite things to do with my kids is, help them identify that they aren't a body, they aren't a face, that they are definitely not their emotions either. It's just energy that's moving through them. And I'll ask them, where is Mason? And without fail, all four, they'll point to their heart. Well, if you crack that open and you go digging, you're not going to find Jackie in there. You're not going to find Bethany in there, because Bethany's an essence. She's a spirit. She's an energy, right? And so when we pass, that just becomes a part of this collective again. However, I do believe that as a soul, I came here to learn certain things. And so if there were things that I didn't learn, my belief, hashtag Jackie's opinion, is that we reincarnate. We can come back and live multiple lives. I have past lives that I've accumulated mass amounts of wisdom and abundance in, that I bring with me into this one, right? Or karma that I didn't clear up that I bring into this one, so I can learn and move beyond it. Well, we can go back and revisit this, while we are transitioning back to that pure essence, to know. And I think one of my favorite parts is going to be seeing the impact that I made, and knowing that I'm going to be able to take that bird's eye view and see how impactful my life was, that I don't have to see it right now. It's like, I know I'm going to get to see that. And so it's just making all the difference that I can in the physical while I am in a body, so that when I peer down and I see all the lives that I've touched, it's going to be the best thing in the whole wide world.
I thank you for that, by the way. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
I've lost the guy's name. I'm looking at my bookshelf here. Bruce Lipton. Are you familiar with Bruce Lipton?
I feel like I am.
So he talks about how they've identified, in science, they've identified that every cell has certain like you have the cell, and then every cell has like these receptors on it, and the receptors are energetically tuned to the individual, and that they have never, and now they're researching it, and they've never found two receptors that are the same. Like they'll be different lengths or shape different. And so like when they take blood from someone and their cells, their energy, and they take it 100 miles away, and then they show that the person that came from a scary movie, the cells 100 miles away react, and
Absolutely.
that his theory is that when we pass, when we shed our physical body, that we only come back when those cell receptors show up, because they're just transmitting our essence. Like, we're spiritual beings, gifted with an intellect, having a human experience, right? Like that whole concept.
Yep.
And I don't
Absolutely.
know,
Yep.
like that's just amazing to me, that it's like our bodies are the TV of our soul, of our essence, right? Like it's just the broadcast. And so what we have in here obviously broadcasts out. It's everything's created twice, essentially. So
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a powerful thing to realize. I think that's the biggest thing I'd love for your viewers and your listeners to take, is that that is truth, but that it is not, it is always shifting and always changing. And you have charge over it. You have absolute charge over it. If life isn't showing up the way you want it to, you're the one that gets to change the channel.
Right.
And when you change the channel, you tune into something completely different.
Yeah.
By way of healing, by way of, shifting perspective from that of the negative to the positive, by handling the fear and the anxiety. And I love what you said, because I resonate with it completely. It's what I teach. Anxiety isn't something we're going to heal. It's not something I want to heal. I want the anxiety to be my tool, to know when I'm not aligned with something, so that I can take my power back and shift into something that feels so much better to experience. Right. Anxiety can become an ally, just like the ego can, right. To help us see, more of our potential.
Yeah, early in my my journey, my awareness journey, I learned that our greatest potential is when we're like this, but the flow, at ease, peace, calm. And that just recognizing the energy of not being in that is like, that can change everything in your life. Anytime you're off, like, whoa, okay, wait, what's happening here? Anytime you're not in, in that state, just start asking the whys, to start understanding what is happening, because you allow that and you don't even realize it, at least initially, and it's still sneaky. I mean, it's still like, I don't know how we can possibly filter the 70 to 90,000 thoughts we have a day, but it's just a becoming process. You just keep showing up and doing the work and filtering what you can and recognizing what you can. And the more and more work you do, the more you are like this, then like this, right? Like the more you stay in flow, the more you are connected, the more you call in to your life those things that you want, because you're a vibrational match, which is a whole other topic, which we could talk for hours about. But
so I want to share with you something that I know blew my mind, but it's been a key player in my ability to stop the mind chatter. Journaling is amazing because it helps you get it all out, so that you can at some point feel like, okay, deep breath, I've got this now. I've got it all out. You don't want to go and vent to your friends, because then you're just taking that energy and transmuting it over there.
Right.
You want to put it in the book so that you are energetically responsible for that mess that we've created, right? Wayne Dyer shares this question that we are to pose ourselves whenever the monkey mind becomes way too much, whenever we've got a million thoughts happening and we can't seem to calm them. And meditation sometimes works, but the question was, what will my next thought be? And when we ask ourselves that, it's like a tricky thing, because if you ask yourself in your mind, what will my next thought be? It's radio silent.
Yeah.
It's trying to figure out what your next thought's going to be. And it's not about figuring it out. What will my next thought be? You know, it lasts for a couple seconds before stuff starts coming in. Cool, awesome. Go back and ask again, what will my next thought be? The shift, the changes, the awareness happens in the space of silence. And so when we can expand that space for another couple seconds to becoming more able to sit and meditate for periods of time. 5 minutes is when my journey started meditation. It was 5 minutes that I could sit. Now I'm up to 45 minutes to an hour. It's blissful. It's like, see you later, bye. You know, but it takes time. It's a muscle. It is honestly a muscle we have to practice and get real fit and strong, you know? So that is one of my favorite things to do. If I'm too caught up in everything and I can't slow the mind down, I will say, what will my next thought be? It's super quiet. It's relief, instant relief. It's magnificent. Yeah.
That's brilliant. That makes total sense. I wrote that down. Love it.
Good. Yeah. Use it.
This is amazing. I have loved getting to know you, Jackie, and talking with you. Can you share with viewers and listeners how they can connect with you, where they can find you, where they can get your book?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm on the World Wide Web. You can go to jacquelinehopper.com to find out more about how you can work with me. If this is a journey that you have just started and you're eager to learn more, I love it. If this is a journey you've been on and you're ready to take it to the next level, I can help you with that too. So you can visit jacquelinehopper.com. I'm on Facebook at Jacqueline Hopper or at Psychic Empowerment Coach. That is my Facebook business page where you can see all things me. Instagram is at Jacqueline Hopper. I'm on Clubhouse now. Are you on Clubhouse yet, Bethany?
I just got on yesterday.
Dude, it is the most fascinating and addictive thing, but that's at Jackie Hopper. We hold space on Fridays for Conversation with Spirit. So it's super cool. It's expanding exponentially. It's just fantastic. So
hey, I'm going to find you on there.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And I did send over a free gift for your viewers. Yeah. So if anybody is interested in an intuitive tune-up, I'm offering a free 20-minute session to those viewers so that they can schedule with me, learn more, get more, have access, and see where we can go from there.
Excellent. So if you are listening to this on the podcast, this will be all in the show notes. If you're watching this on video through the Unapologetically You speaker series, it will be in the description of the video. So thank you so much for being here, Jackie.
Oh, thank you for having me. I can't even believe we've been on for almost an hour. It's amazing.
I know.
So good.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.